Iraq's fragile power-sharing deal hangs in the balance. Has the democratic process in Iraq been manipulated by politicians inside and outside the country? And is this what the Iraqi people wanted when they voted 8 months ago? This is Inside Story. Hello, I'm Hazm Seeker. Welcome to the program. First, they struggled to agree on a deal, and now they're finding it difficult to stick to one. Iraq's inconclusive elections in March had led to months of political wrangling. Only last week, the two major players, Iyad al-Allawi's al-Iriqiyah list and Nuri al-Maliki's State of Law alliance, managed to reach an agreement. But it seems to be unraveling already as the Iraqi parliament met for its first session in months on Thursday. Members of the parliament re-elected Jalal Talabani as president. Then he named Maliki as prime minister for another term. Immediately after that, some 60 members from al-Iriqiyah, including Allawi, walked out. They said they were angry that the power-sharing deal between the two sides was not being honoured. Allawi's Iriqiyah bloc said it had agreed on a deal based on 4 conditions: a bill forming the security body, a committee examining cases against political detainees, legitimizing the power-sharing deal, and lastly, reinstating 3 Iriqiyah members barred for their alleged ties to Saddam Hussein's Ba'ath Party. This, they say, was meant to be addressed before voting for president. And it was that last condition that Iriqiyah says was blatantly ignored, triggering the walkout and now more negotiations behind the scenes. Well, joining us now to discuss this issue are our guests. In Baghdad, Mahmoud Othman, member of the Iraqi parliament from the Kurdistan Alliance. In Amman, Muhannad al-Bayati, member of the al-Iriqiyah bloc. And in Birmingham, Scott Lewis, professor of American Studies at the University of Birmingham and editor of the news website EnduringAmerica.com. Gentlemen, I want to welcome all 3 of you to the programme. Now, Mr. Othman, if I could start with you. Where do things stand right now? Because we understand that an agreement has since been made and all the parties have come to the table to salvage a power-sharing deal. But are you confident that there will be a working Iraqi government and one that includes all the main parties with a real voice at the table?
Yes, well, we are glad that the misunderstanding which took place, as of course Iraqi themselves today, they called it misunderstanding, on Thursday and led to the walkout. It was solved today and yesterday through negotiations. And today there was a committee from the leaders of the lists, and they solved that. There were some proposals brought to Parliament. Today, when we had a session of Parliament, which took a few hours, everybody was there, Iraqi and all the other lists, so we are happy about that. And Mr. Isawi, who is on part of Iraqi, gave a short speech, and then there was a resolution supported by the Parliament by a big majority that they support the initiative of Mr. Barzani and all the agreements which took place between the blocs on the basis of that initiative. That includes, of course, the agreement which was disputed on Thursday. So things are okay now, no problem, and hopefully all of them will be in, and the government from everybody will be formed, of course, starting after the holiday of the feast.
Muhannad al-Bayati, was this just a misunderstanding, as has been said, or are there real issues of trust here?
Yes, let me say first, send my regards to you and your guests and the audience also. I think the main issue here on Thursday, what's going on, that's the matter of trust. Till now, you know that Iraqi didn't acting as a winner in the election, so they have to deal with them with another part of dealing, as I confirm what Mr. Mahmoud said. Maybe they have fears on this issue. Till now, many of the Iraqi member of parliament, they are disagree on what's going on. The view is not clear for them. All of what they're talking about on dealing is just only policies. There is no decisions inside that. I know it should be policies. They have to follow. There is a law. There is a many. I don't want to go on with the details. So everybody now hurrying on what's going on. He wants to catch some goals he looking for, but I think the democracy not going on just only head of political parties when they're saying that it will be gone. That means you have. That means you get it. Now we have to deal with the time matter. We have to deal with the vote inside the parliament member, and also we have to deal with the others' view to how to going on. I think now, till now, we don't have a real problem about the dealing of Mr. Masood's invitation. But when we be day by day going on with the policies each by one, I think at that time we will face a real problem with these issues.
So do you still have faith in the process here, given what's happened over the last couple of days? I mean, Mr. Iyad Alawi gave an interview earlier today in which he said that the power sharing deal was basically dead, and he feared more violence to come in Iraq. Given that this power sharing deal appears to have been salvaged now, was that perhaps just a negotiating ploy on his part?
Let me clear a point in this issue. Till now, we are talking on something savantum, let's say, don't have any authorizing issues, don't have any policies, don't have any rules, clear rules. Till now, we are talking something not burned till now. It's unclear review. So if we're talking about the power sharing, till now, the other side, it's clear for them what's the rule they will acting on. But till now, the Iriqiyah, it's unclear review. So about the political council, what they're saying, or the high strategy, I don't know the exact name till now, because hearing more than 3 titles for it. But what it will be the authority for it? How can they share the power with the government? So everybody now talking to create a new environment will be relaxing for each political parties, just only to ensuring the starting steps to reform the government. And after that, I'm sure we will face problems with these issues.
Right, we'll get into that issue that you bring up of this new council that's been created. But I want to bring Scott Lucas into this discussion. Given what's happened over the last couple of days, trust does seem to be in very short supply here, especially since it also took 8 months just to get to this point. Are you expecting more of the same?
Politicians don't deal on trust, not after all the conflict that's arisen. They deal on a basis on where they can get something out of the arrangements. So to answer your question directly, the big issue here is that Iraqi, even though they got the most number of parliamentarians in the March vote, are being asked to be the opposition. They're being asked to accept this. Now, in exchange for that, they've asked for a number of conditions. So there's 3 that I'll put before you and the viewers. One is they wanted the Speaker of Parliament to be a Sunni, a member of the Iraqi faction. They've got that. The second is they wanted this council that you're going to talk more about to deal with national security and economic matters. They wanted that to be led by Mr. Alawi and to have some type of power, not just simply be a token commission in the handling of important issues in Iraq. Third, they wanted their members, in effect, to be restituted, to not be effectively exiled because they had supposedly been linked to Saddam Hussein's Ba'athist Party.
Yeah,
now,
we understand. Sorry to interrupt you. We understand that
right.
they have reached agreement on that issue, and we do understand that 3 senior Iraqi members who were barred from running in March's elections for their alleged ties to Saddam Hussein's Ba'ath Party will be reinstated within 10 days. So that is one concession that they have gotten. But there is also this issue of the council. Do you believe that that this council that's been created, some would say purely for the benefit of Iraqi, so they feel that they can have a voice. Do you feel that it will have any real teeth, or will it be just a talking shop?
That's the big debate right now. If you talk to Mr. Alawi and his supporters, they say, yes, this will be a meaningful council. It will be able to deal with the important security matters as Iraq tries to move beyond the violence that's plagued it over the last few years. It will have an important say in the reconstruction, the economic reconstruction of the country. If you talk to Mr. Maliki and his supporters, they've been telling journalists, quite frankly, you know, this is being set up, but the real power is going to reside with the Prime Minister and the Cabinet as it always has been. One of the sticking points is that as it's currently set up, The al-Maliki faction is saying it has to have 80% of the members have to agree on a measure out of the commission for it to carry any weight. And Mr. Alawi and his supporters say that's impossible. You can't set the bar that high.
All right, let's put that to Mr. Othman then in Baghdad. Your group has aligned itself with Prime Minister al-Maliki's alliance. Do you, will this body that's being created have any real power, or will the final word ultimately rest with the Prime Minister?
We have aligned ourselves with everybody. We haven't aligned ourselves with somebody specific. We want the government of power sharing and everybody now in, and we are happy about it. Of course, I also comment on declaration of Mr. Alawi. If he says that the power sharing is dead, then that must either he doesn't know anything about his list, or he may be over-exaggerating, because all the members were there in Parliament today. All the members, the closest one to him were there. Anyway, about that council, I think it will be neither like what Maliki wants nor like what Alawi wants. It will not be a council with full powers. It will not be also a council with no power. It will be something in between, and there will be a law passed by Parliament. The law would show how that council will be solved. It's not an easy thing. Of course, Maliki and his people, they like that council to be advisory. They don't like it to have full powers, which affects the Prime Minister very much. Alawi and his people, they wanted to have full powers anyway. So anyway, we work with them and the others so that there will be a good law passed in Parliament, and there will be a council that will be quite good. I think it will be very helpful. It will also help power sharing, I think, if it's well formed.
All right, let's just take a brief step back now and just remind you what happened in those March elections, which, as we said, were inconclusive. No main party achieved a majority in Parliament. Former Prime Minister Iyad Alawi's al-Iriqiyah party, a secular bloc, won the most seats with 91. Incumbent Prime Minister Nuri al-Maliki was close behind. His State of Law alliance won 89 seats. And this is a predominantly Shia alliance, but also includes Sunni tribal leaders, Kurds and Christians. In third place was the Iraqi National Alliance. Muqtada al-Sadr is one of its prominent leaders. His Sadrist bloc has 40 of the 70 seats in this alliance. Well, now on the streets of Baghdad, people seem to have different priorities. Here's just a sample of what some of them had to say.
I'm really happy. We need a government because many things have to be dealt with. Housing, services and jobs. I hope we're not let down.
We hope this will be good for the nation. What matters is for the new government to serve the country.
The birth of a new government means new conspiracies between political leaders. The victims to these conspiracies will be you, me and all other average citizens.
We supported Mr. Iyad Alawi's demands, which were turned down by other blocs, as we saw in the parliament. The agreements signed by President Barzani, Alawi and Maliki were not implemented. We feel that there is injustice.
I told my friend that Iyad Alawi will not be Prime Minister from the beginning. It was clear that they should have solved these issues long ago. We demand them to provide jobs, security and look after the victimised people of Iraq who've been living very tough conditions.
I hope all political blocs would agree on serving Iraq. That is their main job, to serve the people. The parliament session was supposed to be good news for us.
All right, so a sample there of the views of some of the Iraqis on the streets. Now, they voted in this election back in March. Here we are 8 months later. What many of them wanted was simply an effective government that would address their basic concerns, some of which you heard in those clips. So I'll put it to you, Muhannad al-Bayati. Do you think that those concerns are being addressed here? I mean, in those elections, your bloc, al-Maliki's, Mr. Alawi's bloc, won 91 of the seats, which would have put him in a position to really be the main negotiator here, and it does appear that he has been pushed aside here. So do you really believe that with Mr. al-Maliki as president for another term, things will really change?
Yeah, I confirm the view that said we will be repeating the experiment of the Islamic Party, the Sunni Islamic Party in the previous 4 years. They started with the same government, and they didn't do any activities or the outcome results for their people, or just only sharing. They just give the authority to the Maliki to keep going on. So they failed from 44 chair, I think, to 6 chairs now in the parliament. So my feelings also will be with the al-Iriqiyah list. If they didn't get any achievements in the new maybe 3 years or 4 years, I don't know exact what time will be left. So if they can't reach any outcome results, will convince the people, the Iraqi people, I think it will be restricted for many issues, and will be no more Iriqiyah, and will be divided in multi-pieces. So each one will be try to search for anything to rescue their parties with a new view, with a new political agenda. Maybe this is a real dangerous issue. But I think we have first to be clear with the briefing of the power sharing. What's meaning of that? Is that to divide the authority between Iraqi and the others, and Maliki and the Kurdish, or just all of them to share with, they create the decision, I mean the central decision maybe. I think this is the main value we have to talk about, because even the Iraqi member of parliament, they didn't understand, and they have misunderstanding, and this is one of them. What's going on in Thursday for a couple of days, they lost between the policies, and they lost between the decisions. So I think Mr. Rafi Isawi cleared this issue, and there is misunderstanding in that main issue. And also maybe the Iraqi, if they don't get success with any achievement and their role for the next 3 years, and they don't get real power sharing with the Maliki, I think there will be no more Iraqi.
So do you think that that your group risks freezing itself out of the process here, because the conventional wisdom is that Mr. al-Maliki's bloc doesn't really need you, that they can go on without you? So aren't you kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here?
No. Let me be honest in this issue. Even they talk about the majority inside the parliament, but they can neglect a real part of Iraq. Now, all of them, they're talking about democracy policies, but in reality, they believe in society titles and talking for the stability in the Iraq. Even they get, I mean, maybe Mr. Mahmoud Othman will be more clear on this issue. If the Kurdish and the Maliki alliance, all of them gave with the majority in the parliament, and they going on with the new reformation of the government, I think there is no stability in Iraq. There is no be any achievement where they talk about, because and even the regional effectiveness. We can't say till now that all the Iraqi file will be pure for the Iraqis political guys, just only because we have an Arab land around us, we have Iran, we have the US also, policies, foreign affairs issues, interfering to balancing or compatibility about these files. So I have my suspicions with these issues. They can't go on with the government without an Iraqi.
All right, let's put that to Mr. Othman. And too much outside interference in Iraqi affairs, is that fair?
Yeah, there's a lot of interference. There has been a lot, but fortunately, we arranged this deal now through an Iraqi initiative by Mr. Barzani, supported by all the blocs. And I'm very happy to say that we made it inside Iraq by Iraqis, and that's what we want. We didn't go into outside tunnels. You don't know where it ends. There's a lot of complication there would have been, but this is good. It's done here. There is still mistrust between the blocs, but I agree with my friend who talked before me. Iraqi should be in. Iraqi blocs should all be in now. The Iraqi situation needs that. Otherwise, if it was stable democracy, you would have a government and opposition. But it seems that Iraq is not yet very stable. That's why we believe that Iraqi should be part of the government. and we believe it's important. That's why our initiative that Mr. Barzani, we worked very hard with all the blocs to achieve this. Unfortunately, it's achieved now, but there are still mistrust, problems, misunderstandings, inconveniences, but still we have to work on it. We have to go on it. This is the start. I hope we will succeed in having a government which will be of real national partnership and which will help in solving Iraqi problems. It's not important just to form the government. Maybe we could form a government, but if the government will not be capable of solving Iraqi problems, which are piled up, we are full of problems, then that will not be very successful. So hopefully all of us will work now together to achieve that as much as we can. That's our aim.
Scott Lucas, do you have any confidence that politicians in Iraq will be able to form an effective government regardless of what shape it's taking, or should outside forces like Iran, like Saudi Arabia, like the United States, should they be playing a role in trying to shape this government, or are they simply meddling?
First and foremost, this situation, despite what a lot of the media speculate on regarding outside interference, is primarily an Iraqi situation. Certainly the Iranians, the Saudis, the Americans, the Syrians all have interest in terms of what they would like to happen, but they don't control what happens. It's the Iraqi politicians who actually have to make those decisions. Do I have confidence that they're going to reach a decision and which brings progress? Wait and see. I'll put 2 points to you. First of all, I would look very carefully to see who Mr. al-Maliki names as his proposed cabinet. Who are the ministers? Are they seen as being representative of all groups in Iraq, or are they seen as favoring only one section, even one section within the Shia community? Secondly, what are the policies he puts forward? What are the economic policies? What are the security policies? Do they look like they're going to protect all Iraqis, or will they be perceived as favoring only one group? To get to the nub of this, the Kurdish community are relatively secure here because they have autonomy. The Sunnis, who make up 20% of the population and who have effectively been displaced from power in recent years, they don't have the assurance of autonomy. They don't have the assurance that they're even protected after the last few years. Unless you get that assurance, you're still going to get the mistrust that's prevented a government being formed over these last few months, and indeed has caused the violence of the last few years.
All right, so Muhannad al-Bayati, what sort of trust-building measures would you like to see from the government as the Prime Minister forms his cabinet over the next 30 days? What ministries, for example, would you like to see some of your people heading up?
Surely anyone from Iraq, if you ask him this question, he will say, I'd love to see unqualified people, educated well, who they trust in Iraqi identity, not the social parts identity or racism or anything of these issues. But in reality, this is something difficult for us. I think each political party will be nominated their peoples who believe in their projects. And if we don't have a union project for all the political parties in Iraq, we will face also a problem. This is first. Second issue, we don't have an oppositioner in an Iraqi parliament. So who will be asking, who will be accused, who will be searching for the mistakes, who will be, even if you say the Iraqi parliament will acting their role.
Just briefly in the time that we have left, is it better for you to be in a position of opposition rather than part of the government?
If you have a real democracy, yes, but we don't have it in Iraq.
All right, gentlemen, that is going to have to be the last word. We will have to see how things develop over the next few days. But we want to thank all of our guests for taking part in the discussion. In Baghdad, Mahmoud Othman; in Amman, Muhannad al-Bayati; and in Birmingham, Scott Lucas. Thank you so much for joining us here on this edition of Inside Story. And as always, we welcome your comments and suggestions. You can email them to us at insidestory@aljazeera.net. Bye for now.